Alright, so I recorded this one last week, and yeah, Cat, what are you doing? Stop. Anyways, sorry. I recorded this one last week, and I didn't really like how it turned out, and I apologize for my gagging. It's been a minute since I read this one fully, so it caught me off guard, and so disgusting. I On to the story. This is Kit by Avvi88, chapter 21. Um, there are warnings. It is essay, abuse, blackmail, talking about future slash planned R. Um, this warning will go on for a couple of chapters. One, not one for all for one is a creep. Um, this chapter will be like previewed Izuku, Shota, and Tomorrow Shigaraki. I'll have to put this here so it doesn't get too confusing. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna pause real quick. I think I have time to get this one out and done today. It is Monday, by the way. I normally don't read on Mondays. But, onto the story. Izuku slowly come back. Izuku slowly came back into consciousness, trying to blink of the sleepiness, the sleepiness in his eyes. He tried to move his hands to rub his eyes, only to be stopped by what felt like cuffs. Confused, Izuku opened his eyes completely, only to be met with the sight of his dad chained to a chair in front of him. Their eyes met, and Izuku could see the panic in his eyes. Izuku tried to get his hands free, pulling against the restraints. Panic began to set in when he couldn't summon his quirk. Seeing his son panic, Shota immediately spoke up. Izuku, try and calm down, okay? You need to breathe. You need to breathe, kid. Shota spoke softly. He could not afford to panic right now, knowing that would just set off the distressed kitten even more. Dad, Shota, one person. Izuku couldn't form a whole sentence, breaking Shota's heart. Tears began to stream down Izuku's face, still trying to get free. Izuku, calm. Shota began, but was cut off by a deep chuckle, making Shota stiffen, and Izuku flinch. Looking towards the door, Shota saw Shigaraki, Kirigirl, I hope that's not nonsense, Dabi, and a white-haired man. The older man was smirking, clearly the one that was laughing at his kid's distress. What took Shota by surprise, however, was how tense Shigaraki looked. He couldn't read Kirigirl, but how he laid what Shota assumed was a comforting hand on Shigaraki's shoulder, he assumed he was in a similar state. His thoughts were cut off by the cut off by the white-haired man. That won't work, Izuku. Those are canceling cuffs. You won't be able to break through them, he said with a teasing tone. Izuku watched as the man walked towards him, tensing more and more with each step. He looked towards his dad, tears still streaming down his face. When he stood in front of Izuku, the white-haired man grabbed his face, making Izuku look up at the man in fear. Let him go. Um, let him go, Shota growled, pulling on his restraint. The man looked at him, the glint of amusement in his eyes. Is Mama Cat getting protective? The man teased. What if I do this? Shigaraki stood by the bar, watching as his sensei walked behind the scared child, smirking. He watched tensely as Sensei began to track down Midoriya's chest, making the kid sob in despair. Shigaraki looked towards Eraserhead. His eyes were slit, growling more furiously. Dobby laid a comforting hand on his shoulder. Not even remotely into this plan either. I can have more fun later. The white-haired man whispered in. Okay. The white-haired man whispered in Izuku's ear, making him flinch and whimper. What do you want? Shota growled at the man. I want many things, actually. But the reason why you two are here is simple. I need you, Eraserhead, as a new test subject to a Nomu to keep everyone here in check. You see, Girl is still human too. His emotions can get the better of him, and I'm afraid that that can cause more problems than it's worth. The man explained. That made Shota feel sick. Not only did this indicate that Girl did not have any choice in what he did, but it is also the fact that Girl was an experiment. A real human being was still in there somewhere. This little one, however, the white-haired man spoke up again, making Shota look up at where the man stood behind Izuku. The man grinned a sick grin Shota recognized as one of a predator. Izuku felt sick as the man brought his hand over his throat. He didn't choke him, but started running a thumb up and down his jaw. Hmm. He is going to have a more pleasurable role. The white-haired man chuckled. Izuku tensed at the words, knowing exactly what they meant. He had experienced this before, after all. You see, Eraserhead, I need an heir. And and I thought, instead of taking one for all back, I could make a stronger child to make sure the legacy lived on. I got lucky with the looks too. The man tightened his hold around Izuku's throat. Quiet sobs ripped through him, shaking in fear. Shota was about to talk but before he could open his mouth, a hesitant voice spoke from beside them. Sensei, Sensei, this is a little too far. Jigaraki said. This surprised Shota. the supervillain Shigaraki Tamura tries to help them out. What did you say? Sensei, as Shota figured out, growled towards the young man. Before he could even blink, there was a smack sound through through the room. Shota watched, wide-eyed, as Shigaraki was slapped hard, making him fall to the floor with a yelp. Dobby was on his way to kneel down to the blue-haired male, who was stopped when Sensei gripped his face, making the stitches in, in his face ripped in a few places. You know what happened if you help him up, Bobby. I won't hesitate. I won't hesitate to kill them. Shota watched in horror as Dobby nodded his head tensely before falling to the floor as the man let go of his face. Sit up now, the man growled. Izuku watched as the two on the floor sat up, but still looking at the floor. Since you want to talk back, you how about you get to watch instead, as a punishment? Hmm. Sorry. Izuku watched in horror as the man snapped his head towards him, grinning madly. And he heard his dad growl in the background, but he could only watch as the man walked back over to him. No, please. Izuku tried to plead with the man behind him, slipping his hand into his shirt. Shota pulled harder on the restraint, trying with all his might to get to his kid. Suddenly, a pained scream came from Izuku, making Shota look up at him in horror. "What are you doing?" Shota screamed. He he could see Shigaraki and Dobby covering their mouths. Dobby holding um a protective arm over over the younger's shoulder. I said I would breed him. However, I suppose how am I supposed to do that without giving him a quirk to make it possible? The man deadpanned, as if it was obvious why his son was screaming in pain. Stop, please. Izuku screamed, sobbed, and thrashing in despair. Suddenly, the pain was worse than breaking his bone. His stomach felt like it was ripping in half, then grew back together. Finally, the man let go of Izuku, making him slump in relief, but still sobbing. Dobby, Tomura, Dobby, and Kirogoro. You'll have to watch them while I go to the lab. If anything happens here, you know what is coming. Sensei ordered, um, before walking before walking out the door. um, Tamura sunk into Dobby's side, a single tear running down his um stinging red cheek. I'm sorry, Tamura whispered, closing his eyes in shame. End of urgent. Summary. All for One needed an heir, and plans to use Suku to get the perfect one. He also planned to turn Shota He also planned to turn Shota into a nomad, and it turns. Tamara, Dobby, and Kirigar aren't as villainous as they thought. Um, I know this was a very hard one to get through. Um, sorry. Oh, hang on. We're done with this chapter. There's like a couple more of this, of ones kind of like this. Hang on. Let me go through and see which ones, how many are like this. From what I'm seeing, there's one after this chapter. Okay. There's like, from what I'm seeing, there's one after this one that only I am seeing for this warning. I'll recheck. Let me recheck one more time, because I need to do that. Say, hey, there's only one. Maybe like a few more. Yeah, there's only one more after this one. I think I have time to get the other one out. I'll check. Or start it. But anyways, I hope you have a good day, and I know this chapter was rough. Um, I don't know what else to say. Hey, who's that? A while back, y'all heard my cat Sushi. I have him, and he kind of looks like a rabbit on this picture. Just a tuxedo cat. But you doing a meow? You doing a meow? No? I try to get him to give y'all a meow, but he won't. But, uh, I know. I'll, I'll see y'all next in the next chapter. Um, oh, one more thing. I'm going to repeat this a couple times throughout some videos. That, fall break for me, is going to be around October, I believe. I think. Let me check. I'm not gonna give. This is not a confirmed date, but it's going to be a date. I am pretty sure it's going to be in the second week of October, which is going to be through 7th through the 11th, which the other days, of course, it's going to be a weekend, but I can't record on a weekend. But I'm hoping to get this done before fall break, so I can start a new one, which I'm excited about. Which I think I able to do this one. I'll have to check on that one. I'm not going to send spoilers. Um, but I hope you have a good day, and I already said this more times. We'll see y'all next time.